So why would you want control by self-sabotaging yourself by losing the match? Well, now we're starting to go from conscious into subconscious thinking, because if you think about, if logically you want to win, I mean, that's why you practice and put in all the effort. And, so subconsciously there's some sort of fear there. So what if you fail? So what happens if you do play your best? What happens if you play better than you have played before and you lose? So by you having control over some sort of sabotage, at least you've got an excuse, and you're kind of protected from finding out that you're a failure. Or what happens if you win? Now there's a fear of the unknown. How far? Because now you've got to repeat it. Now you've got to step up a level. You're going to be playing better players and put under more pressure. So there's a reason there that you need to be in control. It stops you being put in those situations that's uncomfortable. You still get to play tennis, but at a level that you're more comfortable at. It stops you from progressing. So logically, obviously, you want to progress, for the most part. So if you're a professional player, you want to progress, and even if you're a club player or an amateur, you want to do your best. You want to beat your circle of friends, and win some competitions. Okay, so you want to get better, because no one likes losing all the time. That's what sport is. It's competitive. And if you just want to play for fun and lose all the time, that's fine too. But that's not the purpose of this video. Okay. Another way is disengaging. So it's a bit like that dissociation. It's a way of you not being put in a situation of overwhelm. Especially if you're getting better. Let's say you start to progress through a competition. Well, there's more eyeballs on you, more judgment, more criticism. You're exposed, so you kind of switch off, which means you're not focusing on your game. You can't. It's too much. Your head's racing, your thoughts are racing. You're thinking about everything except your shots, or even if you are thinking about your shots, you're overthinking it, like we just talked about. So there is some benefits to having self-sabotage, because your subconscious mind's job is really, its only job is really to keep you safe. That's its basic instinct. If you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you need to survive and keep safe before anything else, before you can thrive. So how does it keep you safe? Well, as I said, you don't want to be exposed to criticism, to failure, to more pressure, to judgments. Okay? So there is a benefit. So that's why your mind's keeping you. That's why logically, you can read books or watch more videos on people giving you good advice on how to overcome self-sabotage. And it sounds brilliant logically. But when you go to put it into practice under pressure, 9 times out of 10 you can't. Because it's a subconscious problem. It's your mind just keeping you safe again. And that's its job. It's just doing its job. It's not there to keep you happy. It's there to keep you safe. So it's your job to work with not only the conscious, but the subconscious as well. Because they work like a team. And if they work in harmony, you can work through this. Okay? And when you think about, there's a conflict. That's why you've got a problem. There's a conflict between the conscious and the subconscious. So your mind wants you to achieve something. I want to win this game, or I want to hit my serves at a certain percentage. And then there's a but. But inside your mind's trying to keep you safe. But if we do that, then we're going to create more pressure for ourselves, because we're going to start winning. So there's an internal conflict that needs to be resolved. So you can work through this. So we've talked about the benefits. We've talked about different types of self-sabotage, and I want you to get into We're going to look into how the mind works now. Um, we're going to do it two ways. We're going to show you how it keeps you stuck, and how we can flip it around, that you can start to know that you can work your way out of this. So first of all, there's a situation that triggers these chain of events, these chain of thoughts in your head. Okay, so there's a situation first of all. So you're going into a tournament, when you get to a certain stage, or even in a game, something triggers the pressure, and the subconscious thought comes in. Okay, so whenever the thought comes in, then the feeling comes in. So if you look at something, then you get a feeling about it. So there's a situation, you're in an environment which triggers the thought. The thought is it's not safe, which triggers feelings of not safe. That's why you can't control your emotions. Okay, and the more you feel the emotions, the more you're triggered in your thoughts, and your head races, and you just can't handle both. Okay, and it's maybe easier and quicker to kind of lose quickly and get out of there than have to put up with all that. You're just kind of firefighting in your mind and your body. So you've got the situation, the thoughts about it, it's not safe, and then you develop these habits. It's like a habit of action, where you're kind of overthinking things again, like we just talked about. And then your final action is the sabotaging behavior. You start to sabotage yourself by hitting shots out, not on purpose, it's just a subconscious thing. You're hitting shots out, you're hitting the net, you're making it easy for your opponent, you're not serving properly. And then you start to get into that. If you're one of those players that gets emotional and breaks their rackets and shouts at people, blames your coach, blames someone. And I'm sure we can all think of professional players like that. And it's hard to handle. And only the top few percent of players can actually maybe manage their emotions this way. And maybe it's because they don't have all the subconscious stuff. Maybe they've kind of been exposed to it a little bit more longer at a top level from early on in their careers, that they're able to handle it because it's more familiar. Um, your mind likes what's familiar. It likes staying in a comfort zone. It doesn't like to push out of that. So if you're pushing out of that zone, then the self-sabotaging behavior will kick in on your behalf, because as we talked about before, there's benefits. It's trying to keep you feeling safe and not expose you. So let's flip that chain of events on its head. So if you think about the situation that creates pressure, imagine if you enjoy that situation. Okay, so let's say you've never been past fourth round or something in a tournament. Okay, and if you've never been in a tournament, you can think of your own kind of level that you've never hardly passed through before. So let's say you're getting to the fourth round. You've never been in that situation before. So normally it's self-sabotage, but what if you thought differently about it? What if you told yourself, now you do have to work, there is techniques where you can work and kind of reframe the mindset. So let's imagine we've reframed the mindset, and let's reframe the situation, these chain of events. So you'll think differently about the situation. You'll think, I must be improving because this is the furthest I've been and I'm really enjoying it. This is where I should be. I deserve this. I've worked for this. Completely different attitude. Okay. And your behavior's got the mindset. So your subconscious thoughts are feeling, I'm where I need to be. It's completely safe. I feel good about it. I feel great. I love competition. So then you're not overthinking then. So that habit becomes, you focus even more because you want it more. You're rising to the challenge. Okay. You get into the flow. And then Whereas before there was the sabotaging behavior, now it's supportive behavior, it's resourcefulness, it's getting into complete flow, it's artistry. Um, and you're just out there expressing yourself, showing yourself what you can do. And sometimes you can't even explain what you've done afterwards. You just went out there and being a one with the world. You're not thinking about the future. You're not having anxious thoughts about the future. You're not thinking about past mistakes. It's just you're in the zone. You're in your element and you're expressing yourself. So what could be better than that? So you can overcome self-sabotaging behavior. So start thinking about, have you got any of those traits of self-sabotaging behavior? And start to think about how do I think whenever I get into a certain situation? What's my thought? What habits come from that thought? What actions? And what results at the end of it? Okay, I'm sure there's a pattern you can all think about. And then what if that flipped? What if I changed that thought to a completely opposite thought? What would be the thought, the habit, and then the action as a result of just thinking differently? Because it might be easy to say, but you're in charge of your own thoughts. You choose what to think. Nobody tells you what to think unless you're at school or something. So nobody tells you what to think. You have a choice over what you think. So you've got to change your attitude towards it. And this is repetition as well. You go and play tennis every day. You practice. But you don't practice your thoughts every day. You don't have a repetition of thoughts that are serving you. So if you don't want to be sabotaged anymore, change your thoughts. They're yours to change. You can change your own thoughts. So nobody else will do that for you. It's your attitude. If someone says something, critiques you, you choose how you respond. You choose how you react. You choose how you think about that. Of course, it does trigger you because we all have different beliefs and thought patterns in our heads, stories that we tell ourselves, whether they're real, false, or made up. So start thinking about, what am I telling myself that's not serving me, and how can I change that story? How can I change my response to people and situations? How can I change my attitude? So you can definitely overcome self-sabotage. You can overcome overthinking. You can get in the zone, and you can play the best of your ability at your level and exceed your own expectations of yourself. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment below. I'm Robert Anderson. I enjoyed speaking with you. Talk soon.